so much winning if I get elected that you may get bored with winning. Believe me. This is gonna be huge. All I do is win, win, win. I'm Donald Trump. The country's on my mind, and that's why I gotta run. If you move into that right building, the economy will go up, and it'll stay there. It'll stay there. It'll stay there. Knock down, knock down, knock down. We can win.
How's it going, folks?
Trump, but the polls I'm first, and never defeated, so won't stop now. Candidates wonder what to do worse, and I don't even have my policies out. I'll stop Obamacare. I'll send illegals back. Bring the jobs back home so that we all can stack. And politically correct can mean politically weak. These people I'm up against, politically chic. I fund my own campaign, don't need no super PAC.
How's it going, folks?
Bring out the piggy bank. Hillary running scared. Top secret emails public. Big sweeper gapping gas.
Just doing a little sharing. How's it going, folks? How's it going, folks? Welcome to the show. You are listening to Trump Talk US. Trump Talk US.
You'll never get bored with winning. We never get bored.
Never get bored. Never get bored. Welcome to the show, you guys. I'm just doing a little sharing here on the Overpasses page, getting folks ready for the show. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you are watching the show, please click the share button. As always, this is Trump Talk US, you guys. Trump Talk US. Trump Talk US. Where we talk about everything Trump all the time. You know us. We love our president. We love our president. We love all the stuff that is going on, all the stuff he has been doing. Now, I dropped my little note paper. Okay, so let's talk about what's been happening. There's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of news that we see sort of layering each other because the left is busy talking about what they want to talk about, and they really don't want to talk about all of the stuff that's actually happening because there's a lot of stuff going on. Very, very negative if you are on the left. If you're a Democrat, this is not your week, my friends. This is not your week. Want to just mention briefly the Kentucky school shooting that went on yesterday. 2 dead, over a dozen people shot. Okay. Morning, Mary. How you doing? Mary's working hard. The news isn't really talking a lot about it, nor are they revealing the identity of the shooter or even what the motive for the shooting was. The shooter is a minor, so they're going to try to do everything they can to prevent that and prevent coming out with the truth. And so we're not going to find out if this is terrorism or, what it is, because they're going to continue to try to hide that because of the age of the person. Now, here's what's very interesting. We have a case here in the Maryland, D.C., Virginia, the DMV is what we call it, the D.C., Maryland, Virginia area, the DMV area. So what we call it out here. We have a case of a young man who shot his girlfriend's parents and then shot himself, did not succeed in that suicide attempt, and is being charged. Now, he is also a minor. They will not reveal his identity, but the news keeps saying every time they do the story how this gentleman was perceived as a neo-Nazi by the parents. So they will continue to out the hate or the motivation they're claiming, potentially falsely. We don't know because it won't give us any more information about this individual. But note, when it comes to the Kentucky shooting, right now, we're not getting any information about any motivation. So whenever they're not giving you information, you guys, it's always best to be suspicious that what they're trying to do is cover up an Islamic terror attack, because we know for a fact the media is in the tank when it comes to protecting the Islamic community from the truth. From the truth we all know to be the truth, that there are individuals in the United States. Good morning, Kim. There are individuals in the United States who are here to attack us. There are sleeper cells. There are coordinated efforts going on. There are, of course, lone wolves. All of that is actually happening. Okay? The media, very careful to cover it up. So we're going to keep an eye on this Kentucky shooting because it's starting to smell a little fishy. Good morning, Mike. How's it going? It's starting to smell a little fishy because they're not telling us some information about the killer. They're being very hush-hush. We have to be very suspicious. There's a lot of areas in the country that have large, unassimilated, so important to include that word, unassimilated Muslim populations. So enclaves of Muslim populations that basically keep to themselves, keep to their own language, keep to their own traditions, try to impose Sharia law in their own communities, and try to keep law enforcement and other officials out of those communities. So there's a lot of risk going on in our rural areas. You know, the radical Islamic community has been very effective at infiltrating, engaging in more rural areas. I'm in Michigan, Minnesota. We're seeing this across the board. Not necessarily the major cities where they know there's going to be a lot of conflict. And frankly, not just conflict, but opportunities for their young people to be lured into Western lifestyle. And by lured, I mean they see everybody else doing normal, free American stuff. Awesome. Do it, Penny. Do it. Do it. They see their friends doing normal American stuff that they want to be involved with. It's much harder to keep young people ignorant and angry so that they can become the vehicles for attacks. It's all of this terrorism plot that is built up in the radical Islamic community. I know, Mary. It's true though. All of that requires the young people do not see the truth. They continue to see America as the enemy, which becomes a lot harder when you bring them here. Okay. So one of the ways that we see that type of radicalized Islamic strategy is to be in these rural areas, to keep their young people and to keep isolated, to really keep themselves isolated so they continue to preach the message of hate, even when people are here seeing with their own eyeballs that America is a tolerant nation, is a warm, welcoming nation. We do, in fact, respect and accept people of all religions if they assimilate to the U.S. government. Kim, did you ask a question and Zuckerberg took it away? Ask it again. Ask it again. Fight Zuckerberg. I hate when they do that. We're just having a dialogue, Zuckerberg. You know, he can come on anytime and have a dialogue with us. It's not like he's unwelcome. He's totally welcome. Doesn't care. Just wants to shut us down from talking. Doesn't actually want to engage in conversation about these topics. So, and they're going to be real mad at me today because I'm talking about Muslims, when in fact what I'm talking about is radical Islamic terrorism and how that is impacting our nation and how we have some real problems in a variety of places across the country where we have unassimilated, isolated sectors of Islamic refugees, immigrants, green card holders, visa holders, whatever, however they got here, they're here, and they're isolating themselves in these communities in a way that allows them to continue to inculcate their youth and turn them against the United States, use them, weaponize, literally weaponizing their young people against the nation that took them in, and frankly gives them a lot of welfare and a lot of benefits. So, Islamburg, New York, Washington State. You see exactly what I'm saying. You guys, I'm not telling you anything you don't already know, in that there is a direct, obvious strategy to isolate the community in a way that allows them to continue to operate their attack. their internal attack against the United States and its people. Not just the United States. I mean, if they were just against the United States, I'd have to worry a lot more here in Washington, D.C., because this is the head of the government. But they're not just against the United States. They are here for the people. They are here to attack the people. So, yeah, now, of course, we're going to see a lot of stuff going on. As I mentioned yesterday, we're going to see a lot of stuff going on when it comes to the Palestinian issue. The Palestinian issue is going to get real hot right now because of our relationship. Let's see if that camera gets a little clearer. Yeah, put this back. There we go. No, it's not being implied, Kim. It's being implied nothing. That's what I'm concerned about when it comes from the Kentucky shooting situation. It is an area in which there is Islamic communities. We don't know. They won't tell us anything about the killer. So whenever they refuse to give us information, I start to get suspicious. And my comment was to keep an eye out on this issue. Because in fact, if it is an Islamic individual, they're going to hide that. And so we're going to need to be more aware of it. And that's one of the things that happens again and again and again, is that if it's something that fits their narrative, they broadcast it. But if it's something that deals with the truth about radical Islam in our country, they cover it up. So I was mentioning a case here in the Maryland, Virginia, D.C. area with a young individual who shot his girlfriend's parents. And they have been saying he's a neo-Nazi every single time. They still cannot identify the youth because he's a minor. They cannot give us his name. But the news has been very clear over and over and over and over and over to suggest that this individual was a neo-Nazi. Now, I'm just saying, why would you focus so much on that narrative while we have a shooting in Kentucky? The news is barely even covering this shooting in Kentucky, which is another thing that makes me very, very suspicious. Cam, it makes me very suspicious when something as dramatic as a shooting, as a school shooting, gets so little coverage. So little coverage. James, you are absolutely correct. Antifa has actually reached out to ISIS specifically. There are multiple points of evidence to demonstrate and show that members of Antifa, people in the Antifa mindset and organization, because Antifa is loosely organized. We have much more organized groups such as refusefascism.org, BAM, Beyond Any Means Necessary. These are much more specifically organized groups. Antifa is really an umbrella word that stands for all of these groups, Race Action League or something. They have all kinds of groups. They all try to pretend that they're all anti-racism groups, but when you come down to it, you look at it, it's communism, communism, communism. 100%. So, yes, the communists and the radical Islamists are linking up together. And this is not the first time. They did that in Nazi Germany. They've done that throughout. They did it under the Obama administration while we had people in the government operating in that way. So, and we all know that people in our government are connected through family ties to Antifa. Tim Kaine's son is an Antifa. Now, did he know that? Is he part of Antifa? It's hard to know. It's hard to know. We don't know how much we know or he knows about his own son and how much he supports his son, Antifa son. We don't know. What we do know is in Illinois, okay, let's talk about what we do know goes on. We do know that in Illinois, Jan Schakowsky, Representative Jan Schakowsky's husband, Bob Creamer, head of Democracy Partners. Bob Creamer, former convict for illegal election activities. All sorts of stuff on Bob Creamer's dossier of himself, where he's been and the corruption he's involved with. And we've seen in Project Veritas videos where Bob Creamer and his organization Democracy Partners are paying individuals to start violence at Trump events. So we know Bob Creamer using Antifa-like tactics and paying people to do that. We also know at the Chicago Trump rally, we had Luis Gutierrez, we had Bill Ayers, we had several members of Illinois government there encouraging rioters, not encouraging free speech, not encouraging Trump supporters who were there to listen to their candidate, encouraging resistance, which we all know was a thinly veiled code for go out and attack Trump supporters, which is what ended up happening, that night. So we know that that kind of infiltration is going on in the government, and those kind of tactics are going on in the government. And we're definitely going to talk about, James, we're going to talk about the secret society, FBI meetings, and all the kind of stuff that's going on, because that's exactly what we're talking about. But I wanted to bring up the Kentucky shooting so we can all put that on our radar, you guys, and start following the story, see if we can start to parse out what kind of information they have, because the fact that they're not telling us anything tells us something. And that's the news we live in today. We live in the news where we have to actually not just read the news and get the information they give us. We have to actually interpret their motivations by what information they don't give us. It's utterly annoying and absurd. I agree. This is the reality we are living in. And I can tell you that for, a fact, because when you start to look up news stories, when I start to research the news for Trump Talk, you guys, again and again and again, I have to dig out from in between ridiculous fake news, ridiculous smear news, the actual news. So if you go to look on business news right now, let's talk about the bad business spin going on. If you go on business news page at Google or whatever, right now you're going to see, oh, Kleenex had to lay off all these people. Oh, look at all these bad things happening. This company had to reduce its size. This company had to do all of that is what you'll see. Go do it. Go look at business. Go to Google, click news, scroll over to the business part. What are you going to see? Negative, negative, negative. Now, that's the stupidest fake news ever. We all know that business is booming. We see the stock market booming. We see the energy boom. We see the jobless numbers down. We see employment numbers up. We see several companies offering bonuses, raises, hiring due to the tax cuts that have recently been passed. We know that's happening. But for some reason, exactly, James, for some reason, they don't want to report on that. They want to report on any company who has had any problem whatsoever, whether or not that problem is self-created, or let's see if I can clear these glasses. If it's not the camera, it might be the glasses. That's what we have to, process of elimination. So the media is obviously working in tandem, together, in conjunction with each other, to spread this bad economic news. And they do that in a pervasive way on purpose. Okay, what they want to do is get an overranging idea. Because if you notice the left people, let's just talk real talk for a second, you guys. We all have had some liberal friend or some leftist troll, somebody we're talking to that says, I don't watch the news. I don't watch any of the news. I don't watch any of it. And yet they repeat the talking points of the news word for word. And so we have to go, well, either you're a liar and you do read the news, or somehow that information is getting into your brain. Now, let's explain a little bit about one way that information gets into your brain. Okay. The left media uses headlines, uses talking points as headlines, so that if I'm just scrolling on my phone, okay, I don't need to read the article. I've seen the headline. So when I see the headline, Kleenex fires, lays off 5,500 people, I'm like, oh, that's bad news. And then the next headline. And so they use these headlines knowing full well that most of their target audience is never going to click that article, because I don't read the news, right? So they inundate. They get in a pattern of inundation. So all of the headlines start to have that same tone, that same business is going badly, layoffs are happening. And then you have your little lefties who get on your page and come in and say, no, business is going very badly. You see it everywhere. And that's where they get that. They get that because on their little feed, okay, between Facebook sharing news stories, the sponsored stories, and their other friends, i.e. bots, we're going to talk about bots in a minute, sharing those stories, that's the kind of inundation they get. And they get this overriding idea that something is happening, which is basically being brainwashed into them. brainwashed, James. You're absolutely right. Brainwashing to them through just scrolling. So they never have to read the articles. So they actually never get the details. That's the reason you'll often see articles. Did you guys get this? You'll see an article. It's outrageous, the headline. You're furious. You're like, that is the most anti-Trump crap I have ever heard. Is that real? You click the article. And you read the article. The article doesn't even match the headline. The headline is not represented in the article at all. They do that because they know their viewers, their target audience isn't going to read the article. It doesn't matter. They're not going to get the details. They don't care about the details. That headline is what is trending this narrative in their minds and what continues to be the vehicle by which the media is able to inculcate a message without actually getting to the actual information. And they can still post real information in the article. Oh, we posted the real facts. Those are all verifiable facts. But your headline is propaganda. And that's how they do it. So we continue to fight that. Now, so you're going to see a lot of bad news spin right now, but the economy is booming. The economy is booming. And the reason that we're going to see a lot of this media going on, this big push right now, is there's a lot of stuff that are very bad. Let's talk about the stuff that's very bad going on for the left. The evidence of secret FBI meetings. There are now multiple informants, and we have senators talking about this, congresspeople talking about this openly to the media, that there have been secret off-site FBI meetings designed to undermine the president. That is actually going on. There are informants who have been talking with several members of Congress, of the Senate, who are informing them about these meetings. The news doesn't want to talk about that, but that's actually an outrageous, egregious violation of the purpose of the FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation. It's certainly not designed to be a political attack group, and yet that's how it's being used. All of the emails by Peter Stroka, or whatever his name was, Stroza, it's in there. I wrote it down. I remember to write it down, but I didn't write it down on this page. But all of his emails back and forth being lost. FBI emails about just lost. Where'd they go? We don't know. Now we're talking about oh, Trump is blaming Samsung. Or we're trying to figure out where the emails went and under what collusionary action those emails disappeared. Isn't that weird how the left can't keep a hold of an email, but I can't get rid of my email? My email box is backed up of stuff from 10 years ago, still in the email box. I haven't cleaned it out. I can't get rid of it. It takes too much time. But the FBI, the government, we don't know where any of these emails are. We lose emails all the time, you guys. Thousands and thousands. We just lose them. Where they go, we don't know. Yeah. Yes, they know if they put something damaging out there, even if it faults, their job is done. Even if forced to, yes, the damage stays. We're going to talk about, Sarah Carter source tells her there will be an intelligence committee vote on releasing the memo next week. Yes, let's talk about the memo a little bit. We all know the memo is hot, you guys. There's stuff in this memo that the left is freaking out about. This is why you got Dianne Feinstein. This woman, Dianne Feinstein, she just makes me crazy sometimes. Just literally, this is my Dianne Feinstein face. Is she saying something again? It's never good. This woman doesn't have anything good to say. Nothing good to say this week either, you guys. Nothing has changed because Dianne Feinstein is busy trying to spread the narrative that it is Russian bots. Okay? Russian internet bots are the ones behind hashtag release the memo. So I just want to let you know, James, you're a Russian bot, just like me. I know Mary and Kim, you've hashtag released the memo. Russian bots. We're all Russian bots. Just Russian programs out there telling people to release the memo. Apparently, but this Russian bot taped a message to her coat and went out to a march. It's really interesting how fleshy I am to be a bot. Like, It's weird. I even checked just in case I have my sleep. Myself was replaced with a Russian bot. You know, sometimes you bump yourself. I'm like, oh no, that's human blood. Weird that they would put a whole layer of human blood over my Russian bot body. So stupid. We're not Russian bots. We're Americans. It's the same narrative they wanted to pass on to us in the election. It wasn't Donald Trump. It wasn't Trump supporters that were sharing all this information about Hillary. It was Russian bots. We've been accused of being Russian bots before. They're right back to it. Right back to accusing us of being Russian bots. I know, Penny. Oops. Your little programming, Russian bot program. So stupid. So I know now we have to learn Russian, Chris. Now we have to learn Russian. Luckily, maybe it's already programmed into us, you guys, because we're bots. It's just the stupidest thing ever. And we have got to start holding these politicians accountable who continue to call. We are American citizens. These are the American people speaking out to you, our politicians, and saying, please do what we're asking you to do. Do what we voted you in to do. Do your job. And when we do that, they call us bots. We got to stop that. We have to stop having our voices undermined and just being lied about and rejected outright as a Russian ploy. We have to do something. So I suggest call that B up. I said the B. Call Dianne Feinstein, that little B, up at her office and let her know you are not a Russian bot. You are a flesh human being, an American who would like them to release the memo. Yeah. If you call, it's harder for them to, do that Russian bot thing. If you just email, you could be a bot, because that's still in the digital realm. If you send her a little Facebook message, still could be a bot. Get on the phone. Get on the phone. It's a lot harder to be a bot with your voice. So, yeah, I agree. Can we put the president, the left put the president through a cognitive test, through all sorts of testing to determine, demand it, exactly. To determine if he was healthy. I think it's about time. It's about time. Hey, Mary, will you pop onto the internet and see if you can find the number to Dianne Feinstein's DC office. Always, if you can, call their DC office first, you guys. They have people and staff. Beautiful, Fred. Way to go. Fred broke his phone, which is horrible because, as we all know, Fred, great patriot, Overpasses for America, does a lot of great work. Fred needs that phone. He's got meme wars to continue on. He's got Overpasses pictures to share. He's got all kinds of stuff he needs to do with that phone. So it's good to see Fred Schneider's phone is fixed. And if you are not part of Overpasses for America, get on it. Get engaged. They do some great flag waves. They do some great activities. Getting out in the community, showing our patriotism, showing the support for our president. And most importantly, Fred, one of the things I think you do most importantly is you bring people together so that we can operate together as an American unit of citizens. And I think that fellowship, that patriot fellowship, is one of the most important things that America, Overpasses for America does. It really just brings people together, shows our patriotism, brings people together. We need to be together. Kim, no, when you call, I know, should we say, hello, I'm a Russian bot? Wouldn't that be funny? Wouldn't it be funny? Oh, great. Here's her address and phone number. All of the information Mary has right there. You can give her a call in Washington, D.C. If you send her a letter, handwrite it. Because you know how hard it is for robots to write by hand. Handwrite it. I mean, print. Look, write nicely. But don't type, because bots can type, apparently. We'll just flesh her out. Literally, we're going to flesh out this release the memo situation. We're going to flesh it out because we're not bots. Yeah, she's a moron and a traitor. If you're rolling around calling American citizens Russian bots while ignoring their voice, I think we're starting to tip into traitor. Great. Awesome. Thanks, Chris. So let's talk. So we mentioned the Russian bots. We're talking about the secret FBI bidding. That's why they are busy trying to smear us, busy trying to attack us. Because, see, Denise is a Russian bot. I know her personally. She's not a bot. She's a lovely patriot woman who runs a wonderful business, who sells beautiful MAGA creations as well as a whole bunch of other awesome stuff. You should go check it out. She's great. She's not a bot. She's a patriot. Just like Kim, patriot. Patriot. We want the memo released. Now, let's update you on the memo. Now, Alex Jones is releasing something that he says is the memo. I don't know yet, okay? Because what I have read is that there is a process to actually release the memo. Does that mean it's not been leaked? It might have been leaked. I don't know. We're going to find out, though, because I think that it is important, whether we have a leaked copy of the memo or not. Leaked is not enough. Leaked is not enough. Welcome, Ronald. Another delight. Denise says she's a Russian spy at night. Well, I mean, maybe a white Russian spy. You know, that's a delicious drink. I would spy on some white Russian right now, even. Delicious. Those are good. Wow. That thought about white Russians made me forget forget my whole conversation there moment I was talking about. So we have a lot what we're seeing. Thanks, Denise. Yeah, I know. Thanks, Denise. Nice, Denise. Get me off track with the leak information. Thank you, Mary. Now we're back on track. I always got my Mary to back me up. Leaked information isn't verifiable. Correct. Leaking the memo is not enough. We're not going to accept leaking the memo. It is not hashtag leak the memo. Has any one of us one time posted hashtag leak the memo? No. No, we're not. We have not. We have actually said release the memo. We need to keep pressing to release the memo because it is the transparency of government that is most important. Transparency being the most important thing. We need to get the system to work for us. So, as I have followed up the story, there is a process that has to go on. It has to be voted on by the House Intelligence Committee that the memo can be released. If the House Intelligence Committee votes to release the memo, there are 5 days. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 days that we will have to wait, because the president has an opportunity over those 5 days to do nothing, and the memo will still be released. Now, during those 5 days, Donald Trump can say, I don't want to release the memo. I don't think he's going to do that. He can also say, yes, release the memo, and it can get out faster. But there are 5 days in which the president has an opportunity to act. If he does nothing, which he might, I would go with the do nothing thing, because the Democrats can't get all on your backside about how you released the memo and you obviously are trying to manipulate. Whatever. You can just do nothing when the memo will still come out if the House Intelligence Committee votes it. But that's the process. And that process has not gone underway. It is beginning. But we are nowhere near all the way through that process. So, whether they have leaked the actual memo or not is irrelevant. Read it. Enjoy it. Thank you. It's not just a job. Enjoy it. But continue to demand hashtag release the memo. Do your Russian bot duty, you guys. Release the memo. Hashtag release the memo. Keeping pressure on that because the Democrats know there's some bad stuff in the memo that isn't going to do them any good and isn't going to help them on any of their other missions. Here's where the Democrats are losing on a regular basis. They're losing on the economy. The economy is doing great under Trump. They said the economy would tank. They're losing. They're losing when it comes to President Trump passing and putting new judges and judicial members in place across the country. So they're losing ground right there. This secret FBI release, they're losing their foothold in the FBI even. That's getting outed. Not to mention they just had an epic loss when it comes to the DACA government shutdown. Because as we all know, Chuck Schumer, you guys, I love when the left eats their own. I love when the left eats their own. Chuck Schumer apparently did not please the Dreamers enough because he had a protest at his house. At Schumer's house. Yeah. They protested at Schumer's house. Now, there's plenty of conservatives they could have protested at, but they're mad at Schumer because he caved, okay? Because he didn't hold his ground and he opened up the government for a few weeks. Right? Right? Yeah. They protested at his house. So, the left was very upset with Chuck Schumer, and across the board, news journalists across the board are saying the Democrats lost this battle because if you look at it point by point, okay, not only were they unable to get what they wanted, which is a deal on DACA. They were unable to do that. The government is now back open. Fred, it makes a good point, Chucky, by saying no wall is in essence denying the Dreamers. Yes, and here's the crux. Chuck Schumer had already agreed to start to pay for the wall. There had already been dealings where Chuck Schumer had already agreed, if we give you the wall, will you give us some DACA? He'd already caved on that issue. The president already knows Chuck Schumer's price on that issue. He already knows what it's going to require to get Chuck Schumer to agree to that and to bring his Democrats on board. So Chuck Schumer's already set the ground for losing. Not to mention, now we've seen what happens when the Democrats try to shut down the government over this issue. They get blamed by almost every news organization, including CNN and AP, the WAPO, Washington Post. Throughout the news media, pretty much the Democrats are the one getting blamed for the shutdown because of the way it unfolded. Yes, Schumer wants DACA as a campaign issue. He won't do anything on it. Yeah, he wants to keep fighting it. Yeah, he wants to keep relitigating that in the public eye so that he can continue to use that as leverage. He's losing ground on that, which is exactly what I'm saying. When you have the Dreamers show up at your house, he's actually losing ground on using that as a campaign issue because his own constituency is getting tired of nothing getting done. They are reaching critical nothing is getting done point, and they're mad. Mad. Very mad about it. On top of that, Chuck Schumer has already caved to Trump on a variety of other aspects. And in this is what I was going to say. This is what they didn't mean to cave on it. They didn't realize that in the spending bill, that just passed, the temporary stopgap measure, are in fact more tax cuts written into the bill. You see, these Democrats, if they want to play hardball when it comes to writing legislation, sneaking stuff in there, they're going to have some interesting times because we finally have a president who is able to get on the phone, connect with his membership, connect with his party, and really push an agenda forward. And it's an agenda that is winning favor with the voters. We see it winning over voters across the country. The new job numbers are winning voters across the country, winning black voters, which are a diehard Democratic voting bloc, less diehard, Now they're maybe like, these guys are like, what? What are you guys talking about over here, Republicans? They're losing. So they have utterly lost the shutdown battle. Any future attempts to use government shutdown to control the DACA issue is, that's actually a great idea. Any attempt to use this again as an issue, it's going to cause problems because we've already established this issue is a losing issue for the Democrats. And going forward, watch if they try it again. Yes, I have read about Rand Paul's proposal to fund things separately. I actually like a lot of the things that Rand Paul says about government funding, but I know that some of his positions are very difficult to get past, okay? Because we have a lot of gravy trainers up there in Washington, 20 minutes away, right over there, over there somewhere. Yeah. A lot of them. And so it's very hard to get rational spending going on. rational government funding. A lot of the things that Rand Paul talks about are very rational, logical, practical methods. They don't get through. I don't get through. Yeah, Chris. Protesting in front of Schumer's house. They're going to be protesting worse. It's only going to get worse and worse as things go forward. And here's another way that the Democrats are losing. Okay, let's talk about this. DOJ looking into arresting, prosecuting, issuing criminal citations to leaders in sanctuary cities. We're already starting to attack sanctuary cities even more directly. We're seeing ICE go in to cities across the country, starting to enforce immigration laws. There's already been a push to enforce immigration laws when it comes to labor. We are considering prosecuting people who hire illegal labor. That has renewed the discussion on E-Verify, which, as you know, is going to be a critical factor when it comes to relieving employers of the burden and pressure of verifying the citizenship of their workers. If we want to make sure that nobody's working here illegally, we need a system by which particularly small business owners can affordably vet and verify their workers. E-Verify is a means that really helps small businesses even more than big businesses, but it certainly is a means by which we can relieve that pressure and thus more effectively prosecute those who use illegal labor. Okay? There's an easy system to check, and you check and you didn't check. You check it, and it's great. You're off the hook. You checked, system, off the hook. Boom. Problem solved. You have an illegal employee. Did you check E-Verify? You didn't check? Great. You are prosecuted. An easy method with which we can really streamline and more effectively prosecute those who are hiring people illegally. And we all know what that, if anything, nothing draws illegals across the border more. Well, maybe gang crime, and cartel activity maybe. But the second thing that draws illegals across the border, jobs that are available. If we dry up the jobs, as we saw during the downturn in the economy after the Bush presidency and the first years of the Obama presidency, that huge downturn in the economy, we had a process called self-deportation going on because there were not jobs available. Because the economy got so bad they even had to fire their illegals even. That's how bad the economy got under Obama. Horrible. If there are no jobs, there's no reason to be here. The illegals literally go home. They're not trying to come here and starve in America. They're trying to come and make money, and then they send that money back. They don't even necessarily pay taxes on that money. A lot of the illegals get paid under the table, and we don't have any opportunity to tax that. That money gets wired directly back to Mexico. Which is one of the ways President Trump discussed potentially funding the wall. The Democrats are going to go back on this whole, because see, here we are again. Now that we're negotiating with DACA and the wall, you'll see in the articles, I know you've read them and you're more annoyed, just like me. You saw in the articles where the Democrats are like, I thought Mexico was going to pay for the wall. All right. Yeah, there's still plenty of ways to make Mexico pay for the wall. We're still in negotiation about how that's going to happen. One of the ways suggested, it's a brilliant way. I love this way. I actually hope the president does this because we can actually drastically affect the impact of illegal immigration while actually helping to fund the wall. One way is to apply the banking rules where you have to verify that the person is legally here in order to use the bank, to process money at that bank. You have to verify the person is legally here. To currency exchanges who are wire people like Western Union or all of these wiring services that wire money back. Okay, those banking rules do not apply to them, so they can take money from anybody without needing to verify their legal status whatsoever. The law is already in place. All the law would need to do is to redefine currency exchanges as economic financial institutions, which I believe you are. I mean, in fact, many people are using currency exchanges like a surrogate bank. They use it as a bank. So it'd be very easy to apply the law already on the books to this new group, currency exchanges. That would cut drastically into the amount of revenue. Hi, Joseph. You're here to get blocked. That's what happens when you come here for a couch. I don't have a couch. I don't even have a couch in the house. Okay? I have chairs. I have comfy chairs. There's no couch. There are trolls. So we block them. It is a leverage point that the president can certainly use with Mexico, and I think would be a great leverage point. Because if we are to change the rules, the amount of revenue coming into Mexico, okay, billions of dollars are being wired into Mexico from U.S. citizens, Mexican nationals, U.S. citizens, and illegals, a lot of illegals. If we cut that back down to only legal people can wire money back, you're going to find a huge loss of revenue to Mexico. Mexico actually needs that income. You know, when people when people get wired money, that money gets spent in the economy of Mexico. Mexico depends on that money to continue to keep its economy going. It's a thing, Mary. They do it to Alex Jones. They do it to other people. They do it to people. I don't know where they got it. It's dumb. I think but that's how you can tell they're all working together, because they're all on the same stupid joke that nobody gets. Yeah, see, it's a new troll thing. And I find it funny that they think we're so stupid that they all come on and say the same thing, yet I'm supposed to believe y'all aren't working together, you aren't coordinated anyway, you didn't get some talking points memo from refusefascism.org on how to troll people. Because why would you say all the same thing? How do they all know to say the same thing? Maybe they're bots. That would make sense. That would make sense. We're not the bots. Maybe. Maybe it pings. I don't know. It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell. You know, I know sometimes you get attacked by bots because it'll be like 5 different people and they literally post the same thing. I think they could be Russian bots. You know, although my point about Russia, and I'm just going to make this statement. One of the things I think that we used to have a lot more to worry about when it comes to the Russian influence. I think that right now, while we should always continue to keep a suspicious eye on what Putin is doing, because Putin obviously has some very big ambitions when it comes to expanding the nation of Russia, there's also some very interesting things that we need to keep in mind about Russia. Russia has no interest in Islamic terrorism. They are pretty vicious when it comes to shutting down Islamic terrorism in their own country for whatever reasons. You know, maybe they just don't like the competition, but they're very serious about it. And additionally, Putin has done some significant expansion of faith in Russia. He's opened up the churches again. People are engaging in Christian activities across the board there in Russia. So it's a different Russia than we might have seen under more communist regimes. And so I feel like there's a balance. You know, when it comes to other Security Council members like Russia, like China, we always have to keep on our guard, but we also have to start to more effectively, understand what's going on internally in these countries, and understand what their motivations are in moving forward, and what they're saying in the UN, and what they're saying internationally, and what their actions are. So when it comes to Syria, for example, where we have seen Russia attack ISIS and support, some of the already existent Syrian regime in place, a lot of that is based, yes, on their own motivations, their own reasons for oil, for all the things that Russia's actually dealing with as far as economy and trade, but they also do not support radical Islamic terror or the takeover of radical Islamic terror. So I think we've kind of hit a point where Russia can be a very useful, if not ally, adjacent country, a fellow country, right? Not necessarily an ally, but it's a country, we're a country, we're very useful going forward because we understand their motivation. This is why, ultimately, I think this is why the left has been so focused on Russian collusion. We're Russian bots. The Russians hacked the election. Russia, Russia, Russia. Because the left needs to establish a new demonization of Russia, because Russia is in fact one of the nations that is fighting the New World Order. They have what's the word I'm looking for? Warrant out for the arrest of George Soros for his attacks on the Russian economy. They are opposed to the globalism, the globalist, elitist, secret society agenda. We also are opposed to. So this is exactly what I'm talking about. One of the reasons the left works so hard to demonize Russia, to demonstrate Russia as being such a negative influence, is because of this division in the global elite community where Russia doesn't want globalism and has been fighting it. And so you have the propaganda machine trying to turn Russia into the bad guy. That doesn't mean Russia is great. Russia is perfect. Russia doesn't have problems. Putin doesn't have problems. He does. He's a dictator and operates a lot of negative things. However, like I said, he's actually fighting with us when it comes to radical terror, radical Islamic terror, and when it comes to defeating globalism and the New World Order. So, sometimes your enemy is your frenemy. Russia is our frenemy. I hope Russia gets Soros first, says Mary, and I say that too. I agree with you, Mary. They aren't as nice to criminals. I don't want them to be nice to them at all. Be unnice. So much going on, you guys. There's so much to watch. There's the DOJ and sanctuary sitting fight. There's the secret FBI meeting information that's coming out. There's all of the positive news coming out that's going on. There's Mike Pence is working with Israel. He's been in Israel just recently. The president is going to Davos, which is going to be great. The president is one of the first times the president will be at Davos. And it's the first time our president will be at Davos. And I'm excited to see President Trump speaking his America First narrative to the Davos community, which is a huge group of economic globalists, people who have utterly supported the New World Order. I know. Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't that be nice, Mary? People in Davos utterly supporting the New World Order. So many global elites over there. President Trump is going to come speak to them and talk about how his America First agenda actually not only is a win for America, but is a win across the globe. When America is strong, trade is strong. When trade is strong, when we've secured trade throughout the world, when we are engaging in a system of trade that is bilateral, not these huge agreements that are basically set up to undermine the United States economy at the, to build up foreign economies at the expense of the United States economy. Trump has finally begun negotiating bilateral deals, which of course are much more effective. That kind of American strength, so key. When America is strong, the dollar is strong. When the dollar is strong, trade becomes easier, more fluid, more convenient. When we have one solid global currency, global trade currency, the dollar. Having a weak dollar only starts to create strength in the basket of currencies or the Russian attempt to trade. We don't want the dollar. We want the whatever Russia has. I don't know, rubles, rubies. I don't know what they do. Because it's not as good as the dollar. That's why. Because having the dollar standard is actually a huge benefit across the globe. People can now trade in one currency instead of exchanging currencies. That's why this basket of currency thing is going to be so stupid. Be able to manipulate it on all different kinds of levels. 5, 10 different currencies in a basket. They're going to be all tricked and tweaked by the globalist banking elite. So we never know the truth. Dollar. Dollar all the way. Dollar, dollar, dollar all the way. So, President Trump, he's going to talk about that stuff at Davos. I will be excited to see and watch that. Just to watch their little globalist faces while he tells them why America First is the best thing for the planet. Good stuff. Good stuff. My president, your president, our president is doing some amazing things. Now, just want to talk about this for a minute. There's a new article out on Patriots for America USA. I want to thank Josh Glaspie for this great write-up he did about standwithpotus.com. And my acceptance of the chairmanship position. As you know, I am working very hard with Stand With POTUS to do a great number of things for the MAGA agenda. Mary's working daily, busting her little backside on getting our database put together. That should be launched very soon. We're certainly getting very close. Mary will definitely give us a thumbs up on that because we're getting very close. We're getting very close to being able to launch, get that information out. And there are primaries coming up very quickly in the year. So we want to get that information out to people so that they can start finding out about their candidates, doing the research for themselves, further vetting their candidates themselves. So key. But this is a tool that will allow you to facilitate, make it a lot easier to do that. Yeah, see? Hey, Lisa, how's it going? Welcome, welcome, welcome. So, Stand With POTUS is doing some great things. We are also planning on holding a MAGA lounge at CPAC this year. So, if you are coming to CPAC, we want to create a safe space, a meet and greet space, a place for you to meet other Trumpers, a place for MAGA candidates to pop in and greet fellow conservative activists from around the country. We're hoping to have people like Diamond and Silk pop in, Corey Lewandowski pop in, other big people in the Trump movement pop into the MAGA Lounge, say hello. So it's going to be a space where us Trumpers can connect and get together at CPAC, which I think is really important because we need to start infiltrating and engaging, not infiltrating necessarily, but engaging these organizations. It's kind of both. Engaging the conservative movement, the Republican movement, the libertarian movement, all of the different political thinkings that voted for this guy. Right? We need to engage them. We need to engage. We need to participate. We need to get us all on message. So if we can start talking to our Trump conservatives who are going to be at CPAC, getting all of us on the same page, sharing strategies going forward. If we are on the same page, operating like a party, Trump party, we're going to get a lot more done in 2018. So that's going to take some money, you guys. So please, if you get a chance today, if you don't get a chance, make a little time. Go to standwithpotus.com. If you are able to donate, please do. Every dollar will be used to make America great again. Every dollar taken in, something we're going to use to help this movement move forward. MAGA Lounge. We're talking about a MAGA conference in the fall around Mowar time. We're doing some big things. We're also working very hard on getting voter registration drives across the country built up, talking with MAGA candidates, figuring out ways that we can support that. We got a lot of things in the works. So if you cannot donate today, that's fine. You know what you can do? Cost you nothing. Share standwithpotus.com. Go to the website, click the little share button, share. You can help out. You can help make America great again. You can help me help make America great again. Together, America is going to get a lot greater faster. So now that I've showed you, talked about Stand With POTUS because we are an FEC compliant super PAC. I got to show you this. Okay. We are not authorized by any candidate or any candidate committee. No one is paying me behind my pocket to say, hey, promote this candidate or that candidate. If I tell you I like a candidate, it's because I like him. Just as a person. Stand With POTUS does not endorse any specific candidate other than, you know who we do endorse? You know who Stand With POTUS endorses? President Trump. And the President, America First, Make America Great Again agenda. That's what we endorse. That's what we're working every day, you guys. So there's a great article out. I want to thank Josh Glaspie on Patriots for America USA for publishing that. Go to my page, click the article, read the article, like the article, share the article. Let's just get everybody knowing what Stand With POTUS is, what I'm doing out here in DC, and what all of you great patriots have been watching all the time. So that people know, what are you guys watching over there? You know, I mean, Penny's probably in her doctor's office, and people are like, what are you watching? What are you listening to? Trump Talk US with Suzzanne Monk, chairman of Stand With POTUS PAC. That's what you're listening to. Boom. That's what you're listening to. You're listening to patriotism. Patriotism. This used to be my ringtone. Love my Trump. Love my president. Love my fellow patriots. Love my fellow patriots. I want to thank Denise Ruiz for popping in. Get a chance to go to her page, magacreations.com. She's got some great stuff there. I want to thank Fred Schneider for all the work he does with Overpasses for America. Please go and join Overpasses for America. Grab a flag. Get out there. Do a flag wave. Great stuff. I want to thank Mary for all the work she's doing. I want to thank all my listeners and share people for what they're doing. We are going to be building a share team. Kim knows about this. We've talked about this. We're going to be building a share team for Stand With POTUS. If you are a keyboard warrior and you want to help make America great again, message me. I could use your help. Oh yeah, the economy will stay there. That's great. I love this. It's like predictive. Not down. Up. And we're going to keep winning. It's your girl. Loving winning. Loving our president. Trumping out as always. Suzzanne Monk. See you later.